How is anything zero-based budgeting system? Because some people don't understand how it works. I'm still asking myself how it works. If we're saying that what the government basically did was cut and paste from the 2015 budget.
Cut and paste is possibly an incremental system. You don't cut and paste in the zero-based budgeting system. I agree that it's extremely Herculean and very tortuous, providing or using the zero-based budgeting system. But what it assumes is that it will just assume that you have an organization that should have nothing. That yes, Ministry of Education. Why should we put money in Ministry of Education? We shouldn't. Then there can be argument and say, oh, please, we have 36 federal ministries. So, okay, or 36 federal universities. Okay, put them 36 federal universities. How many workers are there? You do not assume that last year we provided for 36 federal ministries or 36 federal universities. You assume that you are providing for nobody. And that way, every item that enters the budget should be justified.
And that's why some say that these mistakes or these patterns should not have occurred in the first place, since you're operating a zero-based budgeting system, because they expect to have gone through everything before coming to the National Assembly.
Yes, that's the disconnect happened in those who were preparing the details of the budget. No minister sits down to write about 6,000 items in the budget. He gives it to the civil servants.
That's a procedure.
And the civil servants are using the template of the incremental system. They are not used. Look, we've been using the incremental system of budgeting since 1954. And for a government to now say, let's change now to zero-based budgeting system, it will take time. It will take time because civil servants even accept. And they can be very mercenary about government. They can frustrate you. I say, no, okay, you continue. Then they will wait until the time will be too late for you to do any change. Then they say, sorry, sir, we can't do this because this is how we have been used to behaving.
And then you accept it and you go present it that way? And then it turns out that you see that, no, this is not what I...
You are under the pressure of having to present the budget before the year passes.
Are we justifying those padding?
Those padding have no justification. Actually, those who have padded the budget should have been sanctioned. They should have been sanctioned.
Will you be surprised if you don't see that happening?
I will, yes, using the Nigerian system, our filial orientation, things like that. I will not be surprised if they are not sanctioned, but I'll be disappointed. I'll be disappointed. Were he to be a political office holder who will go for his jugular. So if it is by a bureaucrat, why not sanction him? The public service rules are there.
You've talked about preparing the budget and how you think the budget should be withdrawn and represented.
Yes.
How long do you think this will take, and do you think we can really afford this?
Yes, it will take a long time. It will take a long time, but we can afford it. Don't forget, our constitution permits the budget of a year. Yeah, I mean, default of the presentation of a budget. It permits the president of the country to order from the Consolidated Revenue Fund an amount equal to half of last year's budget to run the state, to keep us from shutting down.
That's what, for 3 months?
No, for 6 months. For 6 months. The president of the Federal Republic can order that an amount equal to half of last year's budget be done for a period not less than 6 months. That's a huge power.
But then I understand that they say the budget cannot be withdrawn. You can only, but the executive can come forward with some sort of amendment, and then the National Assembly can look at it, but not complete withdrawal of the budget.
There is no such law in Nigeria.
That's what some senators have said that.
You could write to, of course, senators could say that, and senators must be guided by the Constitution of the Federal Republic. The Constitution of the Federal Republic does not provide for a situation in which errors cannot be corrected.
But not by way of complete withdrawal of the budget.
Complete withdrawal of the budget, if you write a budget that's completely different from the one you had and you submit it to the budget, it's actually a nullification of the earlier one, and it is tantamount to withdrawal.
So duplicating vote heads is another way of padding?
Yes.
Because we saw that in the budget.
I give you an instance. In the Ministry of Agriculture, and this was done actually in the year 2007, provided for just acquiring, for buying seeds. It was reflected in 4 different heads as seed, seeds, seeding, and seedling. For the same thing. For the same thing. Seeds, seedling, and seeding.
They left us seeded.
Yes. And in that, just one. Imagine what will happen in other departments. Driving, driver. And you just find people providing for that. Experts at doing that are bureaucrats. Because they could be easily hidden under stationery. Imagine just providing for stapler and stapling pin. They could just add staple pin, one, then stapler, stapling, staples. And it will just be perfectly done.
Yeah, it sounds funny, but again, it goes back to what Chamberlain asked, that if you look at it, some of the key ministries there, or some of the ministries, well, you didn't observe such anomaly, and it goes back to experience, whether you have civil servants or you have ghosts who help in preparation of such budgets. I still want to look at those people who had the key ministries.
Yes.
The form of experience in preparation of budgets.
Yes.
You have done extensive research works when you look at budgets. What do you think you'll be saying to those who are heads of ministries and agencies and parastatals moving forward, so that we don't get to see this kind of embarrassment
Partner with
in the future?
professionals. I will advise them to partner with professionals. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria could be. But I mean, you could request for their help, and they could send you experts in public finance. Ditto for the Nigerian Economic Society, they could do so for you. Ditto for the Nigerian, Institute of Taxation. These three organizations could help, and the university system could provide interns, PhD candidates as interns in the Ministry of Finance to help, particularly in writing the budget. I mean, this shouldn't be too bad. I mean, should be possible to award PhD degrees to 4 different Nigerians working separately in 4 different ministries, helping to write the budget for just 1 year. It should be possible. I mean, we should be able to partner and link the intellectual world with the political world for the better of the Nigerian state. And politicians should not pretend as if they have all the answers. They just don't do. Politicians don't have all the answers. The only thing that is regrettable in this one is that you have the resources on ground, but you are refusing to use them. I mean, what do you call that? What do you call that?
Then, now that we have this yearly presentation, should we also look into it, having seen that, look, in order to avoid this kind of challenges, we'll make it a 3 or 4 year kind of budgeting system?
You can't be more correct. I've said it on this platform several times that instead of writing a budget for just 1 year, let us have a multi-year budgeting system in which just one budget will serve an administration throughout its term, particularly or at least for 3 years. If we have one budget for 3 years, you don't go on the tradition, the routine of having to rewrite the budget and commit mistakes at the same time. At any rate, the medium-term expenditure framework is firmed up virtually every year, whereas the MTEF is for 3 years. So why do you need to adjust the MTEF if it were to be perfect from the beginning? So no budget.
So that's contradictory.
No. Of course,
if you have the MTEF for 3 years, but you come every year.
Exactly, that's the disconnect. If you have an MTEF that runs for 3 years, why not have a budget that will run for 3 years so that it could work in tandem with the MTEF? But to have a yearly budget, and of course, there's hardly very little the government can do because of the financial year of 1980 provides that the Nigerian financial year shall run from January to December. So except you go amend that law first to provide a multi-year budgeting system, you are not going to have anything in that regard.
Do you see us perhaps looking into that law?
I see us. I have made suggestions to government, and I pray that such a suggestion, which I've done, of course, with experts and the guru in this area, I pray that they will adopt it.
Do you see the budget still achieving its key focus if it's faced with this challenge and it doesn't come through in the next 2-3 months?
Actually, what suffers when you have this kind of problem is the capital budget, not the recurrent budget. Salaries will be paid.
Contractors will have to wait until they are sure what's coming to them.
Critical works that will lead to the creation of wealth and the maintenance of wealth or increase in the level of growth of the country will have to wait. Take, for instance, this budget. I don't see it being passed until March. That means the first quarter had already gone. Now, by the time constructors begin to bid for it, you advertise for it, and you permit for about 60 days or 90 days, and then they bid, and then the contract is awarded. You are already running to plus 6 months. That's September. Now, I wonder what contract work, let's say, for example, road construction, you will want to begin by September. I just wonder. When you should have had that same contract, say, around January or February, when you have the dry seasons, and then you could be able to do much work.
Around what time do you think we should start budget preparation?
August. Any budget that comes after August is late.
That's presentation.
The presentation.
But preparation should start when?
Should start from June. Because it should be possible for political office holders and civil servants to be able to prophesy to prophesy into what we will need for the next one financial year, at least one financial year. It should be possible. So if you don't have a system in which you continue to replicate government agencies, MDAs, and things like that, you know, we should be able to know at least this is what we'll be able to pay for the next 1 year. It should be possible, and econometrists and statisticians can do that. We have them at the National Bureau of Statistics. They are in large supply.
So what is government waiting for?
Oh, that's the problem. That's the problem.
All right, that's an interesting place to leave it this morning. Thank you very much indeed for coming on. Dr. Tunji Ogunyemi is a budget historian and also a lawyer. Well, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away.